What we're going to be talking about today is what I like to call nutritional pillars for success that can make nutritional systems very easy for yourself to keep linear progress moving forward very easily. So when we just think about diets, there's tons out there. All these diets are out there. They're all focusing on different things, but although they're focusing on slightly different images of what a diet is, they're all following the same general premise, and that's calories. You got things like Weight Watchers, right? They follow a point system. However, that point system is keeping it very simple for you to control calories. We've got things like Atkins diets, right? That's basically like food restriction dieting, so you're placing the emphasis on lots of protein, okay? But the general premise is always coming back to, again, calories. Then you got things like ketogenic diet. Ketogenic diet, for those of you that don't know, is a very high fat, low carbohydrate diet. But again, overall it's coming back to calories. And the same thing with, say, something like intermittent fasting, right? It's focusing on meal timing and when you can eat foods and when you can't eat foods. And overall, that's, again, coming back to calories. So we have this, what I like to call is a nutritional pyramid. Right here on the board kind of shows it in an up and down format. So we have the base of our pyramid, which our focus should be calories and portion size, okay, of the foods that we're eating. Then we have what's called macronutrients and macros, where we're focusing on the quality of where we're getting those calories from and how we're getting our different nutrients, like our protein, our carbohydrates, our fats, okay? What sources are we getting those from? Then we have our focus in terms of water intake, okay? We can also throw fiber here as well. And then we have timing, meal timing, okay? When do I have to eat this stuff? When shouldn't I be eating these things, okay? And then the last important thing would be supplements, okay? So things like protein powder, fish oil, probiotics, multivitamins, things of that nature that can help supplement our diets that I feel like too many people place way too much of an emphasis on without focusing on the quality of where they're actually getting their food intake from. So what ends up happening is this pyramid kind of gets flip-flopped. It gets up and down. Everybody wants the magic pill, right? Okay? And there's so much focus on just this easy supplementation that we start outweighing that, it's never going to get the job done. And then we have focus being put on, meal timing, and then these last couple that should be at the bottom start getting jumbled up, and we focus more on calories. Then what we should be focusing on is the quality of where we're getting those calories from overall. Okay? So moving away from that pyramid, I'm just going to touch on each level and kind of what that looks like. So when we talk about calories, really the thing that we need to think about is portion control overall. And without the right amounts of foods, okay, within our daily intake, it can be very difficult to, for most of your guys' goals, build muscle, get stronger, and lose weight, lose fat, right? Okay? We need to make sure that we're not intaking too little calories where it's affecting and slowing down our metabolism. We also need to make sure that we're not focusing on eating too many of those where we're not going to see it. So overall, if our main goal is to lose weight, we need to have a caloric deficit. So what that means is that we're going to burn more calories in comparison to the food or the calories that we're taking in, okay? Same thing if we're wanting to pack on mass and add a lot of size, okay? We want to be in a caloric surplus. We want to have more calories than what we're burning throughout the day, okay? But we also need to be focusing on, well, where are we getting those calories from? In terms of setting up your calories, there's a couple of different ways that you can do it, okay? Unless if you're going to be using something like direct calorimetry, which would consist of you guys getting your actual, resting metabolic rate tested, which can be very expensive, which, nobody's really going to do, okay? The easiest way to do that, number one, to find out your baseline, okay, in terms of how many calories you're burning throughout the day, okay, is to track for at least about 7 days, okay? You can use applications like MyFitnessPal, MyMacros Plus, that have these food banks. You can keep track of your food intake, your liquid intake, and you can find out, well, what's happening in my body over these 7 days if you're keeping things consistent, so you can find that baseline and what you need to do calorically, okay? The other way that you can do it is, if you just don't want to go through it at a time, on average, through research, it's been shown that it takes roughly 13 calories per pound of body weight to maintain your weight. So if you were to multiply that out, okay, let's say it's 200, right? Say my body weight times 13 would be 200, right? Okay, or it would come out to 2,000, okay? Say it comes out to 2,000 calories. Well, if that's going to be my general estimated baseline and I want to lose weight, I'm going to have to eat below that, okay? And in 1 pound, okay, there's about 3,500 calories, okay? So over a week period, say we're going to lose a goal of losing a pound in that week, okay? We need to have a deficit, okay, of 3,500 calories over that total week. So if I go 2,000 times 7 and it comes out to 14,000 calories total I'd be eating to maintain baseline throughout the week, well then I need to take away 3,500 calories in my week, okay? There's going to be 10,500, and that would be my division point across my 7 days to find out what my average would be. But those are some basic ways we can find out where we need to start at, okay, without using like a direct method. And then second, we're looking at macronutrients, okay? So this is focusing on our proteins, our carbohydrates, our fats, okay? So where are we getting these calories from, okay? I could say, a calorie is a calorie, but I can't say that. Calories would make up your baseline level of your pyramid. However, we need to focus on where we're getting the calories from, because those different macronutrients will all behave differently within the body with something that's called thermogenic effect of feeding. So each of those macronutrients have a little different effect in the body, and it's going to make it up a little bit differently, okay? The other part that we can look at this with from a macronutrient standpoint is consistency. So I know everybody in here has baked something before or cooked something before. So let's think of it like this. We have a cake, right? Okay? And for the cake, you have all your different ingredients. You have a list of it. You have your measuring cups, okay? Well, what's going to happen if we mix up those ingredients, or it's just completely random all the time? Okay, if it's completely random ingredients all the time, we're going to come up with not the right texture, not the right shape, and not the right taste, right? Okay, so we need to think of our body the same exact way in terms of the macronutrients that we're intaking, okay? So we're getting completely random amounts of protein, completely random amounts of carbs, completely random amounts of fat and water intake, completely random amounts of calories all the time. Your body doesn't know what to do, okay? And that's going to show for it. Okay, it can get you to a certain point, but it'll only get you so far. Okay, and hopefully that makes sense for everybody. Okay, so our main goal with our macronutrients is to set up in a way that we can track and get consistent amounts of the macronutrients and make adjustments from there. Okay, so the first most important, I'm going to go to the other page, guys. Okay, the first most important macronutrient, which should, in my mind, always be constant for yourself, is protein intake, okay? Protein we need to build muscle, we need it for recovery, we need it to burn fat, okay? We need it for a little bit of energy, but we don't want to use it too much for that, okay? So we need lots and lots of protein, okay? And we need a lot of it because, number one, your body doesn't store it after its intake, okay? And if we don't get enough of it, okay, well then that means we're probably eating more carbohydrates, we're eating more fats, okay, and we're not going to be able to recover as often as well, and we're not going to be able to build as much muscle as possible, okay. And the other kicker with protein is that out of all your macronutrients, it has the highest thermogenic effect of feeding, okay. When I say thermogenic effect of feeding, I mean it's raising your metabolism the highest, it's taking the most energy to digest that actual food, okay, in comparison to fats and carbohydrates. So when I say that, when you're intaking protein and calories from protein, you're actually burning energy and calories to digest the protein, okay? And it's also going to signal and help with satiety as well. So it's going to keep you feeling full longer for that very reason, okay? So those are some reasons why protein are so important. And you guys might be asking, well, how much should I consume? Okay, my baseline recommendation, okay, for most of the people that train here is to, at a minimum, is 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Okay, so you can take your body weight, you can multiply that by 0.8, okay, or by 1, okay. However, if that's a huge increase for you right off the bat, okay, you can work up to it, okay, or you can start with something with what's your lean body mass, and you can do 0.8 to 1 gram of that, okay. That's very important for at least a minimum level, okay. Even if it's something you're working up to, go with your lean body mass, 0.8 to 1 gram, okay. And there's a lot of research studies that show out there that even something up to 3 grams per pound is highly effective, okay? And you can look at a lot of different research studies that higher protein diets are much more effective for anything body composition related in comparison to anything that's higher carbohydrate or higher fat and lower protein. Number 2 would be carbohydrates, okay? So carbohydrates are kind of like our powerhouse, okay? They're needed for energy, they're a main energy source along with fats. We need them for recovery, and we need them for cellular metabolism, okay? And one thing with carbohydrates is that we store them in the body very, very well with stored glycogens. We store them in the liver, we store glycogen in our muscle tissue, okay? So we do a very good job at, from the food that we intake, okay, at storing that stored glucose, that sugar molecule that you're getting from your carbohydrate foods, okay, to use that for energy. That, you know, a lot of times something like an RDA recommendation where we need to get 60% of our calories from carbohydrates is often for many of us way too much, okay? So unless if we're an elite high-level athlete, okay, we really don't need to take in so much of our calorie intake from just carbohydrates, okay? However, with that being said, carbs are not the devil. They're not the devil, okay? What we really need to place the emphasis on is what food sources are we getting our carbohydrate intake from, and how is that affecting things like our blood sugar levels and our insulin levels, okay, which play a big part in terms of, well, what are you going to do with that type of food that you're intaking, okay? So we need to focus on high fiber sources that aren't going to spike our blood sugar. So things like what I call whole food starches like oats, quinoa, brown rice, sprouted grain foods, sweet potato, those types of foods, versus also the big ones, vegetables, fruits, okay, versus other sources that are high sugar sources like most breads, most pastas, packaged foods, snack foods, sweets, fruit juices, alcohol, all those types of stuff, okay? And hopefully that makes sense for you guys in terms of differentiating between, well, we can get carbohydrates from these other things too, okay? And where we need to be pulling that from. And the last one is going to be fats, okay? So with fats, we need them for energy, we need them for hormones, we need them for cellular metabolism the same way we need them for carbs. And what I really like to say is kind of like eat fat, get lean, okay? If we have enough good, high-quality fat sources in our diet, okay, that's an important thing, okay? All of our cells are made up of lipid bilayers, okay? And when I say lipid bilayers, they're fatty layers that make up our cells, okay? A diet that is very high in trans fat acids, so fatty acids that are coming from foods like most packaged snack foods, packaged frozen foods like frozen pizzas, fast foods, okay, things like alcohol. Those can make our cells very rigid and unresponsive to our hormones, and it can also make it very unresponsive to our energy substrates. When I say energy substrates, I'm talking about the food we're actually intaking to use to produce energy in our muscle tissue, okay? So we need to focus on getting enough healthy fats in from good sources like lean animal protein sources that are raised the right way, a mixture of healthy oils like olive oil, coconut oil, good blend of omega-3 fatty acids like fish oil as a supplement, or oily fish, things like salmon, sardines, mackerel, okay, to give us a good influx of a different variety of different types of fats, okay. They're also going to help us with maintaining a more fluid-like structure in our cells that will respond to your foods and also respond to your hormones to make it easier to burn fat.